All right. Spawning in the bottom right for Team Exxon. This is CHAM. Spawning in the top left for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark. All right. I mean, sorely disappointed here. Neither player 12 pulled. Neither one. Now, are we going to see a standard traditional hatch gas pool opening, or are we going to get this interesting, like 17 pool into 17 hatch situation? Oh yeah, no CHAM webcam. We do have Dark. Dark is going to grace us with his active face. CHAM, though, is going to leave us a mystery. Okay, so CHAM is going to defy the build order just a little bit. He's going to go hatch pool gas rather than hatch gas pool. I think his opponent Dark is doing. So kind of an interesting little... hate to even call it like a meta game switch. Just a slightly different build order that's going to inevitably lead to the same end location. So not a whole lot to really focus on in that regard. But I do have to say that this ends up being a bit more of a unique opening for Zerg players. You're seeing that no 19 Overlord at this point. This has been a shift in the meta. I think Lambo has covered a lot of very good timings on this. But opting for more of a 27 Overlord. Okay, Baneling Nest going to come down for Dark. And there's a Spine Crawler. Yeah, a Spine Crawler as well for Dark. So Dark's playing a bit defensive. He's going to get the early Baneling Nest. He's going to get himself a defensive Spine Crawler as well. Meanwhile, it looks like CHAM is going to wall himself in. Looks like it's going to be a two-base roach timing, but it comes with melee instead of +1 missile. There will be an additional. There will be an additional evolution chamber, but I think that's just going to be a part of the wall and not necessarily an integral part of what is appearing to come for CHAM. Now, what is interesting, Dark has already gotten into his Baneling Nest, so if Dark sees this two-base wall in with roaches and just believes what he sees, he doesn't take a chance to really scout, doesn't get a chance to develop this further, CHAM could have an opportunity where he could bank a whole bunch of Lings and then just overwhelm his opponent before Banelings can really be out in force. Because I've been watching that production tab, and I haven't seen Banelings in production yet. We do now also have +1 missile incoming as well. Okay, there's going to be one Baneling down for Dark. Was there a scout? No, I don't think so. This is a very unique and interesting play. I think CHAM's going to go for it, though. I mean, he kind of has to. He's committed into it at this point, and this is where he's going to want to be. He has to make sure not to lose a whole bunch there. Ooh, actually, that's a pretty good exchange there. Okay, so now the +1 is going to be able to kick in. There are more Banelings back behind this, so CHAM's not going to be able to really exploit the situation. He's still going to have to dodge around all of these banelings while trying to aggress against the third base location. So CHAM's not going to get the game-ending damage he was hoping to get at this point. Again, still needs to be very, very careful. These banelings are very, very aggressive. One is going to go down for a limited amount of damage. There's going to be a Spire back behind this for Dark as well. So Dark has a very good transition path here that CHAM's not going to be extra prepared for. He's getting a couple extra queens and putting down his third, but does not have the transition ready to go for himself. So spent a lot of money to get that +1 melee attack in, and it really didn't pay off for him. He doesn't have any banelings of his own. No baneling nest in sight for CHAM. CHAM now just throws down his lair. This could be a scary amount of follow-up damage here. The Lings are going to push across the map and put damage down onto the third base, and the third base is allowed to finish. So if that gets picked off, that's going to be a lot of damage, and there's a ton of workers at that base as well. I think CHAM's going to be able to get back and stop the inevitable damage, but the Muta's on the follow-up. That is going to be a good transition here for Dark. CHAM, what do you do? What do CHAM? He has enough queens to be able to deflect against the 7 mutas that are out on the map so far. They're very off. They're off creep. They're marching. It's the march of the Brundas. CHAM, you madman. CHAM has decided that these mutas just don't matter anymore, and I'm just gonna kill you. I don't know if he has enough. I mean, he's got a sizable roach army here, but there's already more muta reinforcements. They're gonna start putting damage down onto these roaches, and now the queens are gonna be caught out in the center with no creep spread to be able to help maneuver them through. It's 13 mutas to 21 roaches and 7 queens. Oh. Okay, this is potentially a scary moment here for CHAM. Now the queen count is deadly, and I think if the roaches stay tight enough, the queens can have a little bit of mitigated damage. Ooh, CHAM though. CHAM. Gonna push forward here. One of the queens does fall down. It did have a lot of transfuse energy. Not a good focus fire moment here for these units, but the queen count is drastically dropping. One queen towards the back. That's DPS that he can't afford to part with. And suddenly, with all of the queens out of the equation, these mutas will clean up every single roach. CHAM, with a valiant effort, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The mind games were not enough against the former world champion in Dark. 7 drones are going to go down. He might pick up the third base. If he picks up the third base, is there a chance for him to get back in this game? Okay, he didn't. Kills 20 drones. Is there a chance? He built it. He built his sport crawler across the map. CHAM, you madman. Oh, that's too many mutas. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't think that's enough. 29. Okay, so we have to evaluate here. 29 workers went down. The third base went down. But what is there to stop this? Yeah, the infestation pit is admittedly late. If he had infestors popping out here very soon, this could be a winnable moment. But even the +1 Lings, I don't know. I don't know. I guess I don't really know. He's gonna lose the natural. The natural lost is huge, because that's gonna limit a lot of larva production. So yeah, CHAM, unfortunately, very, very close. The intentions were there. They were very good intentions. But I think the muta count is just going to be a little bit too high. And yeah, killing off the infestation pit, I think, is the game-ending damage that would need to happen. That being said, there are a lot of Lings ravaging Dark's mineral line right now. I think this is getting more damage done than even Dark was expecting. Dark has 2 workers. I repeat, Dark has 2 workers. If the infestation pit was still alive, I think CHAM has a chance. because Infester Fungals would just be disgustingly powerful. But unfortunately, Dark is able to wait. Okay, yeah, Dark's got 4 workers. He can rebuild. He has the technology. But wow, what a close game. What an interesting game too. It's not often that we see a game kind of end up like this. Okay, Cham wants to play it out. He wants to see what he can get done, but the mutas are going to just be too oppressive. This base is not going to be long for the world. Those mutas could very easily dive on in. There is transfuse energy available, but not sure. Not sure how I feel about all this. Certainly shows that Cham has been putting in some very, very good work. Drone's going to be under attack here. Losing the queen. That's a bit unfortunate here for Cham. His unit count is just drastically falling apart. And once the mutas are going to be able to fight together, yeah, bringing in the mutas from back at home, he'll be very, very incentivized to dive on top of that third base location. Losing the lair is not, or keeping the lair around is not a big deal. But yeah, losing this base is a non-negotiable. Yeah. That's the nail in the coffin for Cham. There are infestors. No way. How did he get infestors out? What a madman. There are 9 workers though. Cham, you've earned my respect here. The problem with that is, yeah, it's just not going to be enough. Dark takes game number 1. So, what are the tallest and biggest maps currently in the pool that is going to maybe lean into a bit more of that muta play here out of Dark? I wouldn't be surprised to see a fun +1 roach timing for Cham. Would seem realistic to do. Now both of the players are going to go into... Oh, wait a minute. Well, Cham did his not +1, excuse me. He did his pool first, but his gas was almost on the same timing as Dark's. So, kind of an interesting deviation there. Cham wanted to give Dark false hope. Love it. So, let's look at this opening here. Because, like I said, in the previous game, this has been a drastic change in the Zerg ZVZ meta for a while. Because both bases get done. You basically drone up to 21. Double Queen. You can do a set of Zerglings. And then an Overlord. It has been discovered that that is a bit more economical, if you will. Now, both players are going to go into the Ling Bane phase this time around. So Cham is going to throw down his Baneling nest at the normal timing. Third base is coming down for both players as well. Now the question becomes, how does Cham feel about his Ling Bane micro? He must feel confident enough to take Dark on in this particular situation, which I give him credit for that. Looks like Cham's build is also going to come with a evolution chamber, so we'll have to see if that's going to be +1 carapace. If it is, that probably leans into an extended amount of time working in Ling Bane. So third base is allowed to finish up a fair amount of drones. It is just going to be +1 missile right away. So CHAM's not going to spend a whole lot of time in the Ling Bane phase. He's going to send Lings across the map and maybe draw a little bit of attention and aggression from his opponent. These queens are going to put a fair amount of damage down. Oh, lots of Banelings, though. One Baneling does connect with the Banelings of CHAM, and those are not going to find the damage that they're looking for. And instead, it looks like Dark's going to just increase his Baneling count here, morphing in 7 or 8 more of those. Both players are going to get those Roach Warrens down. CHAM's is going to be done significantly sooner, so if CHAM wants to try and hold his position, he could get some Roaches out to deal better damage against the Banelings, but things are starting to all happen all at once here. There's only a couple of Banelings in the books for CHAM, and this is starting to look a little bit dicey here. Queens are going to be caught completely exposed on the ground in between. These Lings should be able to clean up the remainder of the Queens, but more Banelings on the way. 28 Zerglings coming across the map. Dark's done. Dark has decided that this game does not need to continue much further, so he's just going to Ling Flood his opponent. CHAM now has the Roach count to be able to deflect the Banelings at least, but will that be effective in holding back the Ling Flood that comes across the map here? We'll have to see what can be done. +1 is just about to finish up, so +1 missile will add a ton of value to these Roaches. Lair has just been started up for Dark, but has not been yet for CHAM. CHAM is going to focus so much on this defense, and right now I think he's going to be in a position where he can hold that back. He's going to build up some more Roaches. Again, no Lair, so that means speed is not going to be added into the equation. But I think this could be enough of an army to go push across the map. CHAM's going to make a run of it. All right, Dark is going to be able to sneak in with his Lings. We'll be able to pick off the third base before those Banelings are allowed to hatch. And CHAM's got the army that he needs. The third base is down, so that means CHAM is pretty all in at this moment here. Dark has an equal army count, but the army count is in a slightly different point on the map. Can Dark get the surround that he needs to? He's doing his best here. He's got a spine crawler out on the left-hand side, but it's not really a part of the engagement at all. And there's no real good way to reposition it here. So 46 to 44, Dark is trying to stabilize a little bit. Picking off that third base was so crucial for Dark. Dark's able to get his own Roach count elevated at this point and will be able to push across the map to deal more response damage as he gets comfortable. But I'm waiting to see what's going to be coming down. +1 missile only now just getting started for Dark. And he cancels it. Oh, he's going to go for a Spire. All right. All right, well, Muta's worked in game number 1, and Juggernaut is a good map to run Mutas on as well, especially if you think your opponent's just going to mass up on Roaches. He saw exactly how game number 1 went. Ooh, good Baneling connection here onto those drones, but it's going to take 2 to knock those bad boys down. So CHAM continues to build up Roaches. I think he's got an opportunity, only now getting Glio Reconstitution started for his upgrade path. Having Roach speed and +1 Carapace would be a significant advantage over his opponent. Right now, 86 to 59 on the army count. CHAM is going to be able to build up his overall supply and might feel comfortable just trying to push if he senses that something strange is happening with the lack of aggression from Dark. Unfortunately for Dark, though, not a wild amount of gas. I guess he is up to 6, so that will sharply change. 8 Mutas in the production tab right now. CHAM has a sizable army count lead. I think he needs to try and take advantage of it. Yep, and now he will. He's got 7 Ravagers on the way, consuming the remainder of his gas. Does he have enough to push forward and close out game number 2? The mutas have been shown. Is that going to deter? No, it will not. These roaches are going to march their way forward. The lings are going to find some good damage here in the natural. That +1 carapace, though, is coming in handy, making it easier to defend against these mutas. Banelings are going to push on forward, but crashing into the roaches is not going to be a super efficient way to get that done. 152 to 116. The army count supply is almost doubled. CHAM has a much better situation to work with this time around. All of the drones have been pulled off of the natural and the third base location. CHAM looking for game-ending damage. He wants to get as much done as humanly possible. He's going to have to kill a lot to make it happen because the mutas are already dealing lots of response here. 35 workers have gone down. We saw this in the previous game. 58 supply. CHAM done it? 145 to 55. Granted, he doesn't have much that shoots up just yet, but he might be able to deal just enough that it's not going to matter. He can just put his opponent away. The natural falls. CHAM, has he done enough? 57 workers and climbing. He's into the 60s. He's going to kill almost every drone he can. 7 drones remain. There aren't that many mutas in the sky. The queen count is drastically climbing here. 1 worker remains for Dark. Oh, this is the kind of damage that CHAM was hoping for in game number 1. Dark is not thrilled. This army will get cleaned up in the end, but it will come at the cost of 2 of his bases. It will come at the cost of 74 workers. CHAM just needs to hang on. Again, the queen production, 3 at a time. He has the units he needs to be able to defend against this. And Dark, what do? Dark has 53 minerals. He's got 7 workers. And then there's going to be wraparound damage here. Yes, that's a great use of these ground army workers. GG is called, and CHAM secures 1 win over Dark.